Excellent visual gag when they revealed that this bird is in fact flying to work. Also, I'd like to add that the stormy atmosphere really adds to the tension and stress of this episode. They strike the perfect tone right from the beginning. World's third best dad kills me. They make you feel so bad for Pinky with every single line. Love the little swamp monsters of Malibu mugs collecting rainwater. Also, Pinky is just sitting on boxes.
I'm sorry no one wanted to date you in high school, Diane, but I don't see why I have to suffer just because you were never especially pretty or interesting.
This line is so insanely cruel. He uses everything that he's learned about Diane against her to push her away, because her perception of him is not what he wanted it to be.
If this goes out, everybody's gonna see the real me. Now, I spend a lot of time with the real me, and believe me, nobody's gonna love that guy.
And this line is so important to show what Bojack's actual problem is here. He wants to deny that he is that terrible person that he sees in the mirror, or, in this case, on these pages.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go take a shower so I can't tell if I'm crying or not.
I love these tiny jokes about small, extremely real and depressing moments.
His mother Beatrice, heiress to the Sugarman Sugar Cube's fortune, and his working-class father, Butterscotch Horseman.
The comments on class and wealth in Bojack's upbringing are extremely important contextually, and serve as a great setup for what they explore further in Season 4 with Time's Era. Also, the fact that the bowl of fruit has a carton of cigarettes is a little hint at how dysfunctional his family home was, even though we definitely knew it was a mess already.
Ugh, I can't work like this.
And once again, Bojack distracts himself with immaterial issues to avoid examining his own failings and shortcomings.
Ugh, no, I don't know. This is dumb. Nice writing, Shakespeare.
This small break shows that Bojack does in fact remember exactly how his parents treated him, but he just doesn't want to face it.
Oh, it's Who, Doctor Who.
Barbados School of Medicine. Offshore medicine. Wonderfully sketchy card that Doctor Who hands out.
That's right. Doctor Who, Dr. Alan Who.
No, but I thought it was Who, like Doctor Who.
Yes, that's exactly what it's like.
Who's Doctor Who?
I don't know.
Third base.
And this joke gets 5 points. It's such an intelligent joke with a great reference to Abbott and Costello at the end. For those who don't know, look up Who's On First. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. It is a wonderful skit that I once memorized for an acting class. Fun fact.
On the St. Louis team, we have who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
That's what I want to find out. I want you to tell me the names of the fellas on the St. Louis team.
I'm telling you, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know's on third.
Do you know the fellas' names?
Yes.
Well, then who's playing first?
Yes.
I mean the fellow's name on first base.
Who?
The fellow playing first base for St. Louis.
Who?
The guy on first base.
Who is on first?
Well, what are you asking me for?
Sarah Lynn dumping these drugs into her mouth scared the shit out of me the first time I saw it, and it really shows that her abuse of drugs could lead to some devastating consequences in the future.
Right, Sarah Lynn? Sarah Lynn?
I'm right at about that time we officially became best friends.
Nice. Can you change best to pretty good?
Still pushing Todd away.
If only Hulk Hogan could see us now, right? Because Sarah Lynn said the thing about Hulk Hogan?
That was like 4 hours ago.
Oh god, pacing has ramped up.
216 pages? Holy shit, that's almost as long as The Firm by John Grisham.
The Firm by John Grisham joke coming back.
When's the last time you even read a book? The Firm by John Grisham?
Even though I don't get why they use this novel. Such a great gag using this real photo of a horse.
No.
And the extremely random trips are so great at throwing you off guard. Also, this is what Todd says backwards here, just a really great gag in general.
I'm talking backwards. Aaron Paul is dead.
Yeah, right. And when I get too old to take care of myself, I go for one last swim.
I think it's interesting that this swim seemingly takes place at the same house that he later lives in with Fantasy Charlotte. And even if this is a downer ending, it's part of Bojack's fantasy, because this is the best he can imagine.
Yeesh, downer ending.
Small hint for the end of this episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah! Kill Bojack!
Okay, what? I'm actually terrified out of nowhere.
Yes!
This electronic song that plays repeatedly is so great and wonderfully chaotic, fits the tone very well.
Busted, it's just a lighter.
Things go from alarming to straight up dangerous. And I love the detail for the animation in this sequence. Such a great shot, especially since we started with a spaghetti western riff.
I just need to stop expecting you to be a good person so that way I won't get hurt when you're not.
So insanely depressing and telling about how their friendship has already been broken, and how neither of them will really resolve to fix it.
You know, if we all had guns, then no one would need a gun, and we would all be safe. I think we just solved the gun crisis in America.
Showing how ludicrous this solution actually is, only fit for drug-addled former celebrities, really.
Sorry, you okay?
Yeah.
Listen, I've thought about it.
This should be the first tip-off that this is not real. How does Diane have no question about Bojack's situation? And honestly, tricking me with this fake title card is a great gag and definitely worked.
Thank you.
Showing that Bojack sees Diane as the woman who will fix him, and that he still sees her as this romantic figure, even if we have moved past that mistake. Wow. That's fucking gross. Nice job, animators. Lots of details here about Bojack's personality and how he sees himself. The muffins from episode 2 of this season representing his selfishness, as well as the bag of stale hamburger buns and an article about the fight with Neil McBeal, the Navy SEAL. An article about the missing Hollywood D is also present here, plus the D itself and the D pendant that spurned his jealousy. The lima bean heart young Bojack made for his father, showing the root of his need for acceptance. The telescope that Bojack wrestled Herb over, showing the abandonment of his close friendships. The Secretariat book, showing the ideal that he always looked up to. The TV Guide Award, showing his need for praise. An article about Horse and Around's cancellation, showing how big a part of his identity that show truly is. Cotton candy, pills, and strudel for his addiction to food and carnal pleasures. Decapathon 7 for his manipulation. And there's a visual representation of the fictional joke headline that Bojack spouted out in the pilot.
Stupid Bojack writes a stupid book about his stupid life, comma, nobody cares.
Great stylization for these flashbacks too, helps them seem appropriately traumatic, especially with the distorted faces. And there's a hyena laughing joke. Preview for free Churro, revealing what happened with Marissa Tomei. I love the diner filled with Mr. Peanut Butter as if Bojack can't get away from him, reminding him of his own negativity and toxic traits. And this speaks to how Bojack sees Mr. Peanut Butter as more of a malicious figure than he in fact is. Excellent transition. Plus, I kinda love the style of no outline Bojack. Makes you wonder if the show looked like that.
Pins? Shouldn't we help him?
No, he loves treading water.
Bojack's brain telling himself that he's wasting time. He's wasting his life.
You can say that again, old man.
The angles and framing on Bradley and Sarah Lynn are so well done to present this as a horrifically bad trip. Charlotte walking into a set of Maine rather than the real thing, showing that it's a fantasy as well.
I'm sinking. Somebody help. The floor is tar.
Reference to the tar metaphor from The Telescope.
See those tar pits? Hollywood's a real pretty town that's smack on top of all that black tar. By the time you realize you're sinking, it's too late.
Again with the excellent framing to create a sense of fear. The clock, the shadows, the pointing, it all works so well.
Now you want your mommy to love you. You go out there and you do the only thing you're good for.
Only thing he's good for is a great way to show us why he puts so much pride in his performances and why he chose this career in the first place. Butterscotch's gravestone slogan. Also, crossbred horse duck is a fascinating background gag that I can't believe they even added during this sequence. And Bojack's grave is very telling about his actual greatest fear.
What seems to be the problem?
Good grief.
Great Peanuts reference, including the music. Also, Diane offering life advice is very indicative of how Bojack sees her. Another amazing transition, easing the tension a great deal. This flashback really slows down the episode and prepares you for the absolutely depressing gut punch at the end.
Because I'm pregnant.
What? That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm 80% sure it's yours.
This line is so weird, showing how distorted Bojack's view of the perfect life actually is. In what world is that an ideal scenario?
Where do the stars go?
Harper being voiced by Kristen Schaal is so smart. His closest view of being a father is Sarah Lynn.
Let's see what you got here. You got 20 pages of Doctor Who erotic fan fiction, a recipe for soup, 5 different theories about how 9/11 happened.
The reveal of what was sent to PC is a wonderful gag, especially with the inclusion of the small instigators of their drug trip, like Doctor Who. A man from the Hollywood Supermax breakout made it to this panel of ghostwriters for some reason. It's nice to have hobbies, although you might want to remove the jumpsuit suit, my guy.
Look, I'm sorry about all the stuff I said about you earlier.
Bojack apologizing in a lower moment, mostly because he needs Diane to tell him something. One of the first times Bojack exhibits this cycle.
I just hated reading that book because I hated feeling like that's how you saw me.
Again, showing how Bojack views Diane as some sort of moral authority. She is so propped up and put on a pedestal this episode, and in general this whole season. I love how this is almost a climax of that framing of her character.
It's not too late for me, is it? It's not too late. Diane, I need you to tell me that it's not too late. I need you to tell me that I'm a good person.
The stuttering and devolvement into begging is so well done by Will Arnett. This is honestly some of the best voice acting I've ever heard to this day. It's such a real moment. She can't tell him that because he isn't. There is no deep down. It hits like a truck. And it's one of the first times people realized this show was special, along with Herb's argument in the telescope. Harper laughing and the small environmental sound effects as Bojack thinks about what he's lost, that other life and the good persona that he could have been, oh, absolutely heartbreaking.
Hey, aren't you the horse from Horsing Around?
And such a cruel way to end this episode. Not only because it reminds Bojack of the path he did choose, but also because it's so abrupt and it plays this breakdown as if it doesn't even mean anything in the public eye, which ultimately it doesn't, even though it means a great deal to us as an audience. If you'd like to see more content from us and get these videos early, you can go to patreon.com/PosiTVty. That's PosiTVty. Support us there for more content and early content, and it's a great way to help out the channel. Thank you so much for watching.